So I'm like peace. IG in the house too. All right, y'all.
Peace.
Snow Lake and Peace. I'm Coach Nazir.
I'm Coach Fatimah.
I am one of the founders, or we the founders, two of the three founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships and co-authors of Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored. I just finished up, by the way, in case you did not know, I just finished up the fourth session for our men's 4-part polygamy masterclass, and it has been decided that I'm going to do an extra session dealing with increasing your financial IQ. So that's going to be another bonus right there. We're pretty excited about. So if you have not had the opportunity, or maybe this might be your first time tuning in to what we're doing, this is just going to be a Q&A session. Let us know where you're tuning in from, what time zone you're in, what country or whatnot, what city, state, all of that represent. For us, we're traveling right now, so the sun just set about an hour or so ago behind us. But we're here for you. So any questions you have regarding polygyny, I'm going to kind of share with you a little bit of what I went over. But in the meantime, between time, feel free to share the videos to some different groups, those who may benefit from learning about polygyny, an ancient form of marriage where a man has multiple wives. I'll be sharing stuff right here, and Coach Fatimah will also be here to assist with any questions that you may have, especially related to the male perspective and what we're doing in polygyny, or what females want men to really understand also.
And also, did we ask them to tell us where they're from? Yes, absolutely. Let us know where you all are from. And if you're not following us on our socials, why not? Of course, here on IG, we're Outstanding Relationships. And on YouTube and on Facebook, we're Outstanding Personal Relationships. If you go over to YouTube, watch all the videos. Don't just watch some of them. I have to tell people, they say, Coach Fatimah, I watched all of your videos. I said, I want you to watch everyone's video because they are all beneficial. You know, we want to kind of click up sometimes in the initial wives want to watch mine and the subsequent wives want to watch Coach Nyla. No, don't do that, because you're selling yourself short of the information that each wife has. So please just don't do the teams, y'all. And walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For those of you that are giving us salams, thank you very much. Appreciate it so much.
We got Omar ibn Abdullah and ATL representatives, as well as our sister Nafisa, always being there. Zachariah, I believe I said that correctly. Out in Niger Republic, out there representing. Living in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I see you. Philly, of course. Deborah out there, sis, alhamdulillah, definitely good to see you. All right, I'm gonna try to share it to some different groups while I'm here being silent in case you wonder what I'm doing. But if you have it, I just did a 4-part polygyny masterclass, right? So week 1, and I'm going to let you know about the weeks and what we really covered. Spain is represented as well. We see you. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Peace. Session 1 was about inspecting yourself. This is really the idea stage, and I really believe that there's 4 main stages of polygyny for a man. The first one is the idea. You know, inspect what you expect. What is the idea? You know, what are you thinking? This is before you even discuss it or really make a decision. This is just, you know, why? What are some reasons that you're thinking about, for example? You know, thinking about the impact it may have on children, either current or future. All right. Are you ready? You know, we help men prepare a report card. And then, of course, finding the right women. We talked about the 7 the 7 identities that you have when you're married to 2 women. And again, that's what makes polygyny, you know, multiple wives, but 2, 3, or 4. But the 7 just when you're married with 2 women. And of course, deal with relatives and family as well. Now, session 2, we dealt with relationship blowback from your monogamous marriage. All right, different societal landmines and social engineering that occurs. Different emotional warfare tactics and games also that can be played. All right, we dealt with support and resistance, different family types, blended families or whatnot, different women's games, man's need for influence, for example. All right, session 3, we dealt with housing, blended families, scheduling, flexible agreements, ceremonies, legal, lawful differences, maintaining balance, a man demonstrating his mission, as well as mental health and trauma and how these can play major issues all the way from the beginning. Matter of fact, we deal with mental health every single week, with the exception of tonight or today, depending where you're at in the world, right? And then today, we cover different family systems and creating systems for your families. All right, when it comes to rituals and things like that, we dealt with being proactive on all 7 levels, dealing with your identities, the new normal, how that really looks now once you actually practicing polygyny, understanding the importance and significance for the man of the 3 Ps, all right? Manifesting your vision, co-wives and cooperation, as well as leadership resources, deciding to either stay, leave, or expand again, or what have you. So we cover all of these things. And I had a private Q&A just for the students, of course, in the area, but we wanted to open it up just for other questions. You know, it's been a minute since we've been, about 3-4 weeks now?
Yeah.
So, you know, we want to do it at least on a monthly basis and check in.
We'll be taking questions.
Yeah. So if you have questions, let this get this straight. Then I'll be able to share and then talking. If you have questions, make sure you put question marks in front of the question that you have so we can find it easily. And that's going to be telling you how to do it on the bottom of the screen for those of you who are watching either Facebook or in our private group or the page or on YouTube. And you can do the same thing on IG. We can see you a little bit. You know, the eyesight ain't gone just yet.
I can see you pretty good.
All right, good. All right, cool. So if you have any questions, place in the comment section, and we'll go from there. And we got some more people checking in. Linda out there with her husband and stuff like that in the Lou, St. Louis, represent. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Amal, walaikum assalam. All right. It says, all right. So Brother Marcus asked a question. He says, is it true in Islam the second wife is supposed to have the same things as the first wife? All right. Specificity. Exactly. Because same things, that could mean, do you mean that they're equal? You know, the same treatment? Okay. Yes. In that fact. But when you say same things, it also kind of sounds like you mean like if one has a 4-bedroom house, the other need a 4-bedroom house, right. One has this card, one get a red dress, the other one need a red dress and stuff like that. That's not the case. Islam is concerned about fairness and equity. It's not equality. We have to really get clarity on that in particular, because sometimes we think everything must be equal. Nah, what must be equal, it's very important to understand equity and equality. There are 2 things when it comes to polygyny. There are measurables, and I call them measurables. The measurables are the time and his money. All right, those things can be equal. That doesn't mean that to be spent on the same exact thing. All right, even time. You know what I'm saying? A person might spend, 24 hours, let's say, over here, or 26 hours one day, but that's a 2-hour difference. But then you make up that 2 hours during the week. So now you just leave 20 minutes early 6 times a week. Boom, 2 hours are done. Now it's caught up. But you as a man got to be on top of that part. Other stuff is equity. You know what I'm saying? So for example, when Coach Nyla and I got married, she had 2 bonus children. We had no children. All right. Coach Fatimah and I, we had 6 children. So the size of the houses is going to be different. You have a house with 6 children versus the size of 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying? That's where equity comes in. So just understand the difference there. So hopefully answer the question. I know it went a little longer, but specificity is definitely key. All right, so if you have questions, question marks in front of your questions, and we'll get to it. And I'm going to try to share this information.
Said, why females stay stubborn when it comes to polygyny, looking to leave, and I'm not sure what that says.
Hip hop.
I thought it said hip hop, but I was trying to make sense.
In hip hop, everyone cheats on everyone.
No, this ain't hip hop.
I'm talking about hip hop,
Yeah.
Skipping out.
I think oftentimes it's the fear of change. We don't want to change. So then there's sometimes the stubbornness, and then there's ego. There's a lot of miseducation out there, misinformation. So we have to become more educated about polygyny. And once we become more educated about plural marriage, then you take some of that fear and anxiety away. Because when you don't know anything about it, when you don't have clarity from the man that is your spouse who wants to practice it, and you're too fearful to ask the hard questions, then you get a little fearful, and you're like, and then you start making up stuff, and then your imagination will start to kick in, assumptions start to kick in. So the fear of change and the unknown. So one thing that I did specifically was get very familiar with the how-tos and the facts of polygyny, as far as what Coach Nazir mentioned, the measurables and things of that nature. And then it took a lot of the anxiety away. A lot of it was eliminated, because I'm like, oh, okay, this is how this kind of goes. And then to understand that my specific family and the way that we needed to schedule things was customizable. It wasn't this exact cookie cutter. I was asking another sister how hers went, and it was a mess. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with that mess if that's what it's got to look like. No, that's what her specific scheduling looked like. It was a hot mess. That didn't mean mine was going to be. So yeah, just getting better understanding of what's going on, and getting this thing out of our head that change is something bad. Sometimes you meet your best self during those moments where you have to change.
No doubt. And there's a plethora of reasons, man. Look at it like this. If you have strong Velcro, what are those strips? Like command strips or something, right?
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Society conditions us in many different ways. And one of these ways is having our Disney society, where there's this whole fantasy about this type of individual that's this knight in shining armor is going to come and say we live happily ever after. Okay, we raised in that type of society, which we know, first of all, is trash. We know that it's a facade. We know this. We know that most marriages end in divorce. Those are the facts. That's the numbers. Most will fail. All right, you have to be proactive and intentional with having a relationship win. All right, whether it's polygyny, monogamy, whatever it may be, you still have to be proactive and actually do work.
Yeah.
Here's the challenge. So Coach Fatimah said that, it can be fear, right? It's this fear of not knowing and ignorance and all that kind of stuff, fear of change. Absolutely. No doubt. But we live in a society that Velcros these ideas that this is the way it should be, this is the way it should look, even though it's proven not to work. The people that it worked for and is designed to work for are men. Now, I know you're like, what? How does monogamy work? It works for the men. This is why. It doesn't make them responsible for their pleasures and other things, meaning you have one legal wife, but you could be Jesse Jackson and have your illegal kids and all this type of stuff, but this woman, your mistress, doesn't get the honor of being a wife because you're already married. Though polygyny's been around quite some time. And if you read the book by Harvard professor Dr. Nancy Cott called Public Vows, you really understand the reason the setup the West put for monogamy as the standard, if you will, to separate themselves and differentiate themselves from the rest of the world. And it had a lot of racial implications on that too. So very good book called Public Vows. The second part is they say it's competition too. All right. I'm talking with brothers and traveling, and brothers are like, oh, we can only have one wife here. And it's bad because the wives have no competition. And I laugh because it's funny, right? And I can see, I see what they're saying. Because they do this and they treat you bad and they figure, well, you can't do anything anyway. I'm your wife now. Like, whoa, that's really, really toxic thinking to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So we have this whole push against polygyny. Meanwhile, there's a whole push for things that are anti-family by people that can't even procreate. You know what I'm saying? So that's an upside down situation. So there are a number of different things that go along with that. But at the same time, as we spoke in the masterclass about trauma and unresolved trauma, all right, we all have something and some things that maybe, well, we all have, and it may be kind of a contradiction, but we most likely have situations and things that have occurred in our lives that still affect us and have shaped our opinions when our brains weren't even fully developed. When our prefrontal cortex finishes developing about 25 years old, it's highly likely you have some experiences and challenges and tragedies that have occurred in your life that may not have been resolved or fully healed. So we're going into situations, relationships, and everything else with things that we really don't know. You know what I'm saying? And things may not manifest themselves until there's something like a polygyny discussion or somebody's talking about polygamy, and all of a sudden that brings up things about their mother who got cheated on, and they look at it as this or what have you, or something that occurred in their past. So there's a lot of other trauma things that may also rise themselves up as well for that fear of loneliness or abandonment or whatever it may be. All of these things affect people. So some of these are triggers or their mental situation that are there and happen. But the reality is, as adults, we have to be able to have the intelligent, honest, open discussions and conversation with those whom we love. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not you practice it or not practice it. People talk about, what about the kids gonna harm the kids? Listen, I used to believe in Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Never knew that the same letter spelled Satan, but I used to believe in Santa Claus. And you might be like, Coach Nazir, what does that have to do with anything? You believe in Santa Claus? What are you talking about? The first person I could recall betraying me and it hurted the most was my parents by teaching me about some fat white man coming down the chimney to leave me gifts. First of all, we didn't even have a chimney. We were living in a duplex. But Father woke me up one night, took me on the porch, had me looking all up in the sky and the stars in a freezing cold night, right? Teaching me about Santa Claus. But that was a betrayal because you led me to believe something, right? That was totally false. And the reason I make that point is parents and educators have the ability to educate children about polygyny, this ancient form of marriage. Now, this month's Black History Month. We talk about all the stuff Africa. We talk about all the kings and all the things that we've done and many different things, right? But we kind of skirt around that little topic of polygamy that's in every single scripture. And I blame it on those who are supposed to be teaching us. You know, how come our pastors, priests, rabbis, ministers, imams aren't really teaching us the practical examples of what to do and become the man you need to be to practice polygyny? See, most men don't want polygyny. You want the benefits. You know what I'm saying? But like my mama told me a long time ago, she was like, you got to be careful. Because some of these women out here, they're going to tell you, you know, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? You know what I'm saying? Men don't want the responsibility of raising another family, but will absolutely go about the Nick Cannon way of creating babies and stuff all over the place. And ain't even no judgment on him. He may not know any better. But there's an honorable way to do it. And we're simply pro-morals. So whether you practice monogamy and polygyny, be pro-morals. Build a fam. That's our main challenge right now today in society. So anyway, going to a whole nother train. I just finished training. Anyway, so let's get it. All right, y'all, there are some more questions. Let me go there. And again, if you have questions, for those of you joining us on Facebook and YouTube, make sure you put the question marks in front of your question so we can find it. And my guy, Dope Law, suggested the other week that, yo, man, make sure you get a company Cash App account. So we did that. So if y'all want to support us, show us some support, feel free. OPR coaches over there at on Cash App or also PayPal me. All right, so I mean, many men just marry second without being aware of the responsibility. Come on. You're right. You're right. This is the exact reason for the 4-part masterclass. This is the reason. Because let me ask you, where can they find out the responsibilities? Where can they find out? Matter of fact, the exact responsibilities. You know what they'll hear? Okay, food, shelter, and clothing, treat right, deal with fairness. You get the basic stuff. Okay, polygyny ain't basic. You're gonna come across dynamics in polygyny that you would not experience with any other relationships. So there are a lot of different things. That's why we had to make it 4 parts. We couldn't cover this. I couldn't cover it in just even 4 hours. I mean, the 4 parts that we did was over 5 hours. You know what I'm saying? So there is a huge responsibility with it. There are many different dynamics. And most men, at least in my opinion, most men, we're not equipped on the emotional challenges that you have to go through. We're not really built for that. We're built for being on the battlefield. We built for expressing our emotions with our hands and in different physical ways in general. Okay. But when you're dealing with expanding families and you're dealing with women and you're dealing with children, you have to be more equipped than just financially to handle things. So good point. And that's why I encourage people to take advantage of the masterclass. And if a person does, matter of fact, just to let you guys know, if a person takes care of the masterclass before or joins the masterclass before I finish the financial IQ module, then the subsequent masterclasses I plan to have during the rest of 2022, they're covered. They're all free for them. So they could join all of them And that's only for the inaugural class. I've already let the students there know, so they good to go. But I'll put that out for the public right now. So let me see. No, Nafisa, it ain't ready for pre-order yet. We got to finish with the editing. But if you're on the email list, you're going to know before everybody else anyway. We're going to let everybody on the email list know the release date of the book, Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored, because we're excited about it on a whole nother level. Okay, so was it Hasim says, would you give your input on the pros and cons of the wives living in the same house? Barakallahu fikum. My wives have never lived in the same house for any extended period of time, meaning like when we travel, it may have been a week or something like that. We was down in ATL.
Yeah. So
I can't speak on the pros or the cons of that. Now we are in each other's houses all the time. That's, you know, but it's not living under the same roof. We prefer separate housing, and I prefer that anyway. You know what I'm saying? I believe, you know, queens need to have her own place to design and deal with stuff and cook and be herself and have her own personality versus being under the same roof. And our family, again, like I mentioned, maybe you just joined, but Coach Fatimah and I already had 6 children before I chose polygyny. So that wasn't going to work either. Now, if it's just 2 people, you know what I'm saying? 2 people, just one couple, and then they marry someone else, they have no children, that could maybe work a little bit better. And I've heard of it working several different ways. You have the flexibility, but I think the cons for us, unless again, it's about a 50,000 square foot roof on a whole estate like that, that's a little different. But even then, it still would be separate wings and quarters of homes. So couldn't speak too much on it from that perspective. But again, it depends on what your mission and what your vision is and what the ladies is as well. So as long as it's something agreed upon and it works for them, then you can make pretty much anything work and find pros and cons on each. You know, but good question though, nevertheless, appreciate that. Mohammed Ibrahim. Where at? Where you at, Mohammed Ibrahim? You in Maram, Sajuklu? Where you at, man? Anyway, yeah, alhamdulillah. All right, what to do? What to do when your husband is talking and flirting with so many women, even after marrying a second wife? My wife ain't got that problem.
I never have. I've never had that problem.
Yeah.
Because if we did, we'd have a problem.
Here's the thing. When we're talking about being pro morals, you have to understand polygyny is not a solution for somebody thinking that, oh, I need to get another wife or I'm going to cheat. First of all, that doesn't make any sense. All right, because that's like saying, oh, I'm going to rape somebody if I don't get married. Yeah, it's the same logic. See, morals and self-control and discipline is what prevents you from acting immorally. How about that, right? You know what I'm saying? Having some type of consciousness about self and respect for people. So when we're talking about polygyny, we're talking about marriage. We're not talking about tricking off. You know, so that type of thing is an internal issue.
Right.
That's different than even talking about marriage. If your husband's going to flirt with so many women, I don't care if you marry 2 or 3 or 4. It doesn't matter how many wives he married. That's an internal issue. Yes. All right. So that's a different type of discussion. Now, if you're Muslim, there's a different type of advice you will get. But the reality is that's a personal iman and it's a faith issue. And that's not something an external person has authority to help stop. And no amount of women will satisfy that. Okay, so take that as you will, but that's an issue. Yeah. But as a man, I'm telling you, when I'm speaking with you, I'm not just speaking to you as your brother, all right, but I'm also speaking as a father because I'm a father of 5 girls. I'm responsible for 5 daughters. All right, 4 biological daughters and 1 bonus baby. 3 of these daughters prefer polygyny. They want to practice polygyny. They want their husband to practice polygyny, and 2 of them want to practice monogamy, and they are. Okay, so if that was my daughter and she's telling me that about her husband, we would have to have a conversation. And if that conversation is not an effective enough conversation, then there's going to be a problem continuing on with my daughter because that's part of my family.
Be a very serious.
Take it as you will.
Very serious.
You know, take it as you will. And the Black community, I believe single women with children benefit from polygyny to help build strong communities. Do you believe single mothers benefit? Unquestionably. Unquestionably, again, we Muslims, so we practice polygyny the way that Islam dictates. But polygyny predates Islam. Polygyny's been around for the longest. Now, I come from a city whose population, about 80% of households in the city of Milwaukee, for example, is ran by single mothers.
Yep.
That's a problem. That's a major problem. Now, I can't tell you, if you want to see the destruction that's going on there, just look over the last 72, 96 hours. Look at 5 girls getting shot at Rufus High School, Rufus King High School.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? By a 32 or 34-year-old dude. Look at what happened with the girl and the guy getting shot yesterday when he was streaming on live before either he killed himself or the police killed him. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Look at the Kia boys.
Kia boys, they want to kill.
You know, so look at what's going on in these single family households whose city doesn't give a damn about you, and most people are lead poisoned, including my children. So, you know, will it benefit? Absolutely. Women are, you know, supposed to be protected by the men. Men are supposed to be the ones that step in, and as our womb is Islam says, the protectors and the maintainers. So if you have a man that has values, that's strong enough to do what he's supposed to do, he should step up and take that lead and not be ostracized for it, and definitely not, you know, be ostracized for it while you're sitting there praising, you know, this other activity that goes on between these men and women and so on. That's contradictory to building a strong, healthy family. So, and people they do whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? But again, we pro morals. But yeah, in the Black community, no doubt, we can benefit from it the strongest. Sadly, we tend to be some of the most stringent individuals against it, despite it being in all of our scriptures. So with that being said, 100%, I agree.
We just talked about this yesterday, I believe. We were talking about how us as Black people, where our origin, we're tribal people. So we come together and marry, and we take care of each other, and there's community within our Blackness. Like, it's ingrained in us to be a tribal people and take care of one another. When we were coming up, our grandparents were heavily involved in our lives, and our great grandparents, if they were around, they knew us. They helped us. You know, your aunts, your uncles, everybody was there helping with one baby, two, whatever. So now we got to unlearn so much that was taught to us by the colonized. You know, get rid of the Black man, get rid of the Black family. You could do it by yourself, ladies. Why should we have to? Why should we have to? Because they want us to. Because the goal is to destroy the Black family. And we all know that. Just look around. Look around.
Some don't know that, unfortunately. Well, yeah, facts.
In movies and TV.
Commercials.
I mean,
man, missing from the fam and everything else with Macy's and everybody else. So, all right, let me see.
Get started.
Mountain says how to deal with a co-wife that calls the man in the middle of the night to waste the other wife's time. The man is stay out of her life. It's fine as long as it goes both ways. That's a little confusing.
Yeah, I'm like, can we get a little clarity on that question? One thing that I love that my co-wife and I don't do is waste each other's time and waste Coach Nazir's time. If we're calling him in the middle of the night, somebody either sick, somebody either passed away, somebody needs to go to the hospital, somebody's having a child, something is going on, and it is major. It's not, what you doing? You know, oh, I miss you. How come you didn't answer the phone? We don't do that. We respect each other's boundaries. And we don't cross that line. It's just amazing to me sometimes what wives are willing to do. You know, we think, and I've said this before, we think that hitting one another is the only violent act you can have. It is violence to call your husband up and just to be calling, just to disrupt his night or your co-wife's night with your husband. They are allowed their time, and they should have peace within that time. And we better understand that. because what we're not doing is we're not in a relationship with a child of ours. So it's not our job to what is that called? Be a helicopter mother to our husband. Be a helicopter mother to our co-wife and try to create this wedge or this disturbance within their marriage, nor should your co-wife do that to you. So my co-wife and I have never, ever done that to one another. It is always a SOS. It's always an emergency. It's always something where we know full well that if we didn't call Coach Nazir, he would have an issue with that because he's needed. So we've never ignored the fact that that's his role. He would want to be called if there's an emergency, if someone is sick, and then he's gonna come. You know, that's money in the bank. So she knows if she hears from me, something heavy is going down. So we just to have the boundaries of, I always think about that, and Coach Nyla and I've spoken about this before, respecting each other's boundaries as co-wives and asking yourself an honest question. Would you want that done to you? Would you want your co-wife doing what you're doing to her to you? Would you want that? Would you want that energy? Is it okay that you can do something? She just better not do it. Is it the double standard? We'll have to shoot a video on that too. This co-wife double standard. Well, I'm calling, but you better not call. I can say I miss him, but you better not see. You gotta. It takes a maturity.
Indeed. Now, my take on it also as a man is that you need to check your wife.
Yeah.
All right. And I mean, listen. If you're a man, one, you don't have a curfew. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you are a husband 24 hours to each of your wives. You are a father 24 hours a day to all of your children. However, to be played like a child, as in somebody trying to call and manipulate and just trying to interrupt your night when you got do not disturb on your phone, and you also could let it be known what you are expecting, what you allow, what you won't. Sometimes brothers be petty like females, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, just haha," and that's weak. All right, that's very weak. That's a real punk move. Yeah. But the man, it's his responsibility to go ahead and check that in. Now, here, let me share something with you. I shared it with our students in the course, and this is a basic slide. I'll talk about it for a couple seconds, and that'll be that. You have to join the course if you want to get the training and stuff on it. But this right here is a 7 identity in polygyny with 2 wives. So sorry, IG, they don't allow you to stream and stuff like that all together with us. So everybody right now on YouTube and Facebook can see it, but y'all can't right now. So check us on Facebook and YouTube. You'll catch it live. We there. But on the screen, you'll see it says 7 identities in polygyny with 2 wives, right? So when you look at it, it says on the left, it has man, all right, because you have your own individual identity as a man. You had that before you met your wife, your fiance, whatever you met her. You are a man, you have your own identity. These are your set of beliefs, what you like, just like also about yourself, period. She has hers, her own individuality. All right, both of you have your own individuality, right? Normal. Then there's, when you get married, there's this shared marital identity that happens. So that's that third circle, that where it encompasses both of you guys, not fully, because you still are your own individual. The challenge comes when a person loses their identity, their own individuality in their marriage. Now that means everything to them. So now they no longer have any hobbies, likes, stuff that they do just solely for them that they like to do beforehand. That wasn't nurtured and got pushed to the side and got neglected. Okay. Well, with your shared marital identity, many times this stuff here is unwritten. So there are rules and expectations and things like that that are unwritten, unsaid, and it is assumed to be what it is. Now, there's some basic core things like, okay, I married you, you married me. That means my private part's going to be satisfied by yours, yours will be satisfied by mine. That's kind of, you don't need to really write that down. It's kind of like the base part of marriage. Like, that's my wife, that's my husband. We go together, literally. Okay, that stuff. But other stuff is a little different. Sudden calls, or I might go out over here, go with friends here, have these different things that I was doing as an individual, and I carry that into my marriage. If that's something that's going to be disruptive, that might be a part that you shed for your shared marital identity that you work on together. Yeah. All right. So that's one. So my own individuality, Coach Fatimah's own individuality. We had that before. Then we married. Now we have this shared thing. She still has her own things. I have my own things, but now we have this shared marital identity. In polygyny, boom, that doubles. So now I still have my own individual identity, not the same one I have with Coach Fatimah. Totally different, because now this was a totally different person that has her own individuality. And then we have this shared marital identity. That's 6. And then there's another one between co-wives, whether it's positive, negative, none at all. Still a relationship there, whether positive or negative. So that's 7 different identities. All right. And to be able to deal with that emotionally and understand it and go there, making sure you have your shared marital identity and who you are, where you feel more comfortable with these different things, is very important to actually winning when it comes to polygyny. But when the hell are you going to figure that out? Where are you going to learn it from? Nobody taught me this. You know what I'm saying? I'm being so serious with you, because I wish I had this stuff 12 years ago. Didn't have it.
Same.
10 years ago, 5 years ago. We had to develop it, because there are so many different worlds, and it's not even dealing with you as a father. All right. And these intertwining relationships and your emotional aptitude, there's a lot of things that go on here. And one of the little small, little petty, immature things is somebody playing on the phone. When I was younger, somebody played on the phone. It was a problem. Then Star 69 came to life. Right? You know what I'm saying? Yep. And then caller ID came to life. You know what I'm saying? All kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, you still doing that, but you're doing a different level? Come on. You got to grow up there. That's not something that brings peace. That's something that plants the seeds of your own destruction. All right, so that emotional manipulation, those little warfare games, that's for the kids. Anyway, move that out and let's move to the next one. Respecting others. That's more of a statement than really a question. What we expect from others should apply to oneself as well, and first to us, and not putting up boundaries for others, but not respect anyone else's. Indeed, that's just part of being an adult. What can a woman do? I'm gonna change that around a little bit. When a man goes and the night to the other wife. Matter of fact, you just did some videos on this. I just shared this. All right. You can go to YouTube. Yeah, you just like how to cope with your husband go to the other White House. You just did that video.
I thought. Wait a minute. Let me read it again, because clearly I read something different. I'm like, I didn't do a video on it. Oh, yeah. Coach Nazir was just touching on that. You have to build a life for yourself that is independent of your husband. Not that, you know, we're married, but we're singular. Not single. We're singular. So like Coach Nazir just said, you have to have your own identity. So what goes with my identity is the things that I like to do. So you can read, you can do art, you can do whatever you love. You can spend time with your children. You can message family. You can talk to family. You can FaceTime. You can learn more about Islam. You can pray extra prayers. Those are some of the things that I do when Coach Nazir is gone. You go to sleep. You catch up on your rest and things of that nature. You know, do your hair. Anything that you enjoy doing that you did before polygyny, you can still do. You still have access to it. Sometimes we put those boundaries up for ourselves and go, well, he's gone. I can't do anything. I just have to sit here and wait till he comes back.
What is he doing? Oh
what is he doing? How is he doing it?
So out of the last, what is this, 5, 10? Out of the last 15 videos, let me give you some titles of some that you might enjoy on YouTube. The initial white victim complex. My husband left for tonight. How do I cope? It's like your question right here. Mind your marriage and polygyny, not your husband's. Wife, get a life. Yeah, those right. There's like 4 of them in the last 15. So
I'll go to YouTube over there.
On the YouTube channel, check them out. Ahmed in Guadalajara, Mexico. Salam wa rahmatullah. All right, Zaba, I think that's how you say it. The S might be silent, maybe. I don't know. Zaba. Not a practicing Muslim, but understand the structure of how Islam assists polygyny. How do you suggest having structure in my life with my wives? The same way Islam said.
Yeah.
Because the same principles apply when it comes to the measurables of, listen, Islam is the only scripture actually regulated polygyny.
Right.
It restricted and regulated it. Right. All right. So it wasn't new. It's not new to African culture, Arab culture, even European. It's not new at all. But what Islam did about 1,400 years ago, it restricted it to 4 women simultaneously. All right. And it regarded them as equals. and made sure that there was fairness and equity between the wives. Some companions of the Prophet ﷺ had 10 wives. They had to divorce 6 of them. Q4. Sure, it's not an easy decision, but I'm just saying it's been around for quite some time. So the way that we see it is best is by the best of human beings, ﷺ, who demonstrated it for us. So when it comes to structure, time, when it comes to the measurables of time and money, when it comes to the intangibles, when it comes to emotions and reassurance and being there, emotionally, but at the same time being that leader who leads your family, but takes consultation from your wives and having the vision for your fam, that's the way to do it. And if you didn't know, or if maybe you're just joining, I just finished up session 4 for the 4-part polygamy masterclass that I conducted for men specifically. So I'll put that information at the bottom of the screen for you. Feel free to go ahead and register. You have access to all of it, and including the next session, the bonus session I'm doing in increasing your financial IQ. So prayerfully that helped. Good question. Now, if you are building and seeking polygyny, should you all be working together and contributing in the union? If a couple are average earners, should they seek polygyny? Okay. It seems like you're talking about, should you all be working together and contributing financially in the union? That's what I'm getting based on if a couple are average earners, should they seek polygyny? There are a number of different reasons to practice polygyny. All right. And there's not a right necessarily or a wrong reason. Like, a man doesn't need any reason at all. He just needs to make sure he's doing what he's supposed to be doing for the betterment of the family. So some people do get involved and decide to, build businesses together and contribute together, and that works for them. The way that I do and the way we do it in our family, that's the man's responsibility to take care of the family. You know what I'm saying? So he's that protector, provider, and exerting personal power. Okay. But can you, like, do my wives have businesses and we work together and stuff? You saying one of our companies, what we do right now without saying first relationship? Absolutely. Have I taught them and teach them and we work together and they consult and we go back and forth? You see their videos, they make it happen. You know what I'm saying? No doubt. Now, does that mean they're bringing in the money and putting the quarter we put into the pot and doing that? That's not how we operate. No. You know what I'm saying? Can they buy their own things, buy stuff for the houses and stuff? Yeah, absolutely. Buy gifts. Yeah, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? That's not how we operate or function. We didn't get involved with polygyny as a form of financial independence. Right. That's not what we got involved for. That's not what the vision I had for, because I'm the one that decided. It's not like we decided. That's not what it is for us. Right. Can that work? It could. If a couple are average earners, should they seek polygyny? They can. It can work. There's flexibility that goes along with it. But I always encourage brothers to increase their financial IQ. At least have the ambition to be going in the direction that you want to go, so you're financially independent. So you're increasing your passive income. All right, you can increase your active income. That's fine. But if everything is dependent, if your income is only dependent on you being active in it, should something happen to you or there be a problem, there you go. But you increase your passive income, that's going to come without you. So I would suggest studying money, learning that first. That's more important because that's going to help you. There's 2 things that affect everything you do in your life. All right, everything you do in your life. That's your belief system, then that's money. Your belief system, if you have morals, you have good morals, you'll be able to deal with people, children, family, wives, whatever it may be. You have to deal with people on a good level, no matter what, somebody with morals. All right, that affects your entire life. Rich, poor, doesn't matter. Money affects every part of your life. It's going to help you further your message, help you give to causes, help you take care of your family, all of that. So study both of those very well. Only one of those is going to matter that much more in the afterlife. But even money helps you with that too, because should you spend something that continues to benefit people after you die, that's one of the 3 things that follows you after death. So prayerfully, that helped. Thank you much for your videos. Respect you and your family. We appreciate that, man. We appreciate that. I think that's a brother. From the image, I can't really tell. Yusuf says, wow, 80%. You said something about 80%. I don't
I think it was 80% of the households.
Milwaukee.
Mothers.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Milwaukee was ground zero for Tommy Thompson, the welfare change reform and all that kind of stuff. So we indeed, unfortunately, have adopted a European ideology in general because we didn't know anything else, but we kind of breaking those shackles. Why do you think people would rather live false lives, pseudo polygamy, cheating side chicks, women, instead of living honestly, practicing responsibility, polygyny, accepting cheating, but not polygamy? Pseudo?
Not pseudo. I think it's
I've heard it both.
I've never heard
niche. So they say pseudo polygyny. All right. Why? Because people would rather love and enjoy a beautiful lie than the ugly truth.
Mm-hmm.
We are some of the easiest people to fool, especially when we want to believe something foolish. You know, I was on a show, the Tammy Mack Late Show that aired in LA and streamed on their website, where I'm in there talking about polygyny. I'm pro morals. Everybody else like, well, look, my husband, man cheat, whatever. It's not necessarily a deal breaker as long as he don't bring something home. Or my granddaddy, you know, he was married to my grandma 47 years. Of course, he cheated, had outside kids, but he took care of the family and da da da. All these types of things, and like, it's nothing. I agree with you. Why? Because it's backwards.
Yeah,
it's backwards.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of control that can be exerted for people who are unorganized and lack discipline. So it's not by accident. Why do I think they would rather do that? Same way that you have people that are the most optimistic people, but they smoke cigarettes and get surprised when it's lung cancer. Like what? What do you mean? You've been smoking, like 1 + 1 = 2. So yeah, we some of the most optimistic people on stupid things, and some of the most pessimistic people on righteous things.
Well, it's easy to be pessimistic, and they like sitting in that because it's easy for them. You know, you have to think deeper. You know, when you're talking about polygyny, some people don't want it. They don't want to go there. They want it. They're used to what they're used to. They don't want to change.
All right, Shalom, but I love to catch you. So this is a good question. Let's get it. All right. Is the second marriage registered as a valid marriage, or is it more of a commitment ceremony? Actually, there's someone who's about to do this later this year. Love from Trinidad, Tobago, representing. All right. Registered as a valid marriage. That's a good question. I'm going to talk briefly about legal versus lawful. One, who is the authority that determines what's right and what's wrong? And where did marriage come from? Was that started by some government somewhere that said, you know what? Let's make us something called marriage and give licenses and certificates and all that and make this stuff valid.
Make it pay for it.
It's a whole thing I'm not going to get into, just not get into the depth of it, because after the creation of the Federal Reserve and these certificates, registrations for birth certificates, marriage certificates, and licenses, which are permission to do something that would otherwise be illegal, is not really relevant. Marriage has been around before the formation of any countries. All right. So religiously, there are many ceremonies, regardless of what religion you follow, or no religion at all, that have had ways to marry people, and even documented prior to the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913 in the United States. You could just go ahead and write in the back of a Bible or Quran or a book, and all of a sudden that will count as your registration by showing that and having witnesses sign off on it. So, you know, because it is currently a felony, it's hardly implemented, executed, but it's a felony called bigamy when a person has 2 marriage licenses at the same time simultaneously in different states in the United States.
Yeah.
So they will consider, if you have a marriage certificate license valid by one person, the second one they will consider invalid, and they will consider her your girlfriend, mistress, or whatever you want to call her. But there's a difference between lawful and legal. So in the eyes of God, what you do is lawful. In the eyes of man, who can change, whether it's the prohibition this year, they lock you up for weed over here this year, which is, again, Milwaukee. 5 times more likely to become a felon just by weed than any other place in the country. So when we say Jim Crow North, I absolutely mean it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's legal. So yeah, there's that. You know, the hearts of men, when you have ruled by the minority of the majority. So lawful and legal, there are a number of different things there on that part, but it depends on what you're looking for, whether or not a first one is legally registered or not. Both can be, or more, 2 or 3 or 4 can be absolutely lawful. So it depends on what you're doing and what your intentions are. But much love going back out, Alicia or Alicia. Which one do you think it is? I don't know.
I'm stumped.
What's next? All right, put questions in front of you. Y'all got some questions? Cola or Cole? All right. Can you start some kind of service to help people find people interested in polygyny?
You got everybody on pins and needles. You got to answer that.
No. No. Here's the thing. What we want to do with outstanding personal relationships is help people get better.
Yeah.
All right. In themselves, so that they can have better relationships with their children, with their parents, with their spouses, All right. And all around the board, the more you become better, the more you grow and develop connection and love and understanding, the better you are for others. All right. So one challenge I have is vouching for other people. I can't vouch for few. I cannot vouch for more than 5 people. And that's a stretch. Okay. Because you do not know. You really don't. You don't know what evil lurks within people. You don't want to be responsible for that type of stuff. You don't want to be, none of that. You could suggest, you could recommend or something, I think, but being like that would be too much on us. We would rather educate you on how to get better and how to attract that type of relationship. And we do have people to email us and let us know and stuff like that. And sometimes we let our students know, listen, the person over there, contact the Wali or so on. We'll do that. But we're not going to start a service for that, man, because can you imagine you get involved with something and now there's domestic violence that goes on, or there's some other stuff that happens, and there's a lot, and I don't want that weighing on me as a matchmaker. That stuff is not easy. You know what I'm saying? We take our business and our things very seriously with empowering and equipping individuals, but doing a matchmaking service would not be one of those. Not at this moment. We haven't found out a way to be able to go ahead and creep into somebody's heart and find out what the intentions are and everything else. But if somebody's already good at monogamy anyway, those traits are likely to be seen and be attractive to other people. So prayerfully that helps. For your efforts and learned a lot. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless your families. What would you advise a sister whose ex-husband was now married, wants her back? We asked her, do she want him back?
Personal decision.
Right, that's more it's a personal situation. I would advise to really talk to whoever your guardian is, your wakil or your ali is. All right, to speak with them, because for whatever reasons you got divorced, you have to determine whether or not those factors have changed. Did they not change? You know what I'm saying? If it's good to go back to, but that's a personal thing somebody really have to investigate, and whether or not it's worth it, because the last thing you want to do is get fooled by the same thing twice. But at the same time, if you're open to it, then you want to explore your options as well. Going to somebody who knows and speak to them, sometimes it works. Sadly, sometimes it doesn't, but that's life. You know what I'm saying? But going to somebody who has your best interest in mind, preferably a male, and let men deal with other men. That's it. That's all the questions y'all got. Oh man, I forgot some stuff. All right, so this we forgot. Oh man.
Always glad to have you.
And we're back. Yeah, man. We don't like missing. Showing our little intro. We think it's pretty dope. All right, where you at? Oh, come on, that's not TL in the house. Excuse me. I'm gonna drink water. The water all warm. It's nice. Many thanks. Your channel's been such a blessing. I didn't understand. I can't even read it.
Not everyone will understand the decision to live this life. True. You all have been such an inspiration. Thank you for your kind words. We definitely appreciate it, because I mean, this has been a long journey, but I feel as though it's been a long time coming. And thank you so much. Truly humbled by that. And it's an honor to do this work, because we know what it's like to not have resources in the arena of polygyny, like at all. So thank you so much.
All right, y'all got some more questions, some idea topics that you want us to cover that maybe we did not cover, or maybe you haven't scrolled through our videos enough to see?
Because we pretty much, we go there. So
I'm gonna take off the gloves.
Yeah, mine been off a minute, but from what they say.
Oh, some women, they ask about coaching and counseling. That's on the bottom of the screen.
Yes, look at the bottom of the screen, guys. So if you want to get coached by myself or my awesome co-wife, Coach Nyla, please visit our
counseling too. Yeah.
yes, or counseling, absolutely. Visit our websites at coachfatima.com and coachnyla.com. We got something for everyone. It's really awesome information. So check those websites out for more details if you or someone you know is interested. Coaching or counseling. Yeah.
And don't go to coachnazir.com. I'm serious, don't, unless it's April. In April, I might have an opening and stuff like that coming up, but no, we good. So I think, is it dying? It's dying. It just got a little darker.
Do you think certain states are better for polygamy?
Do I think certain states are better for polygyny is the question. Well, I think Utah got it popping with the Mormons and stuff out there. But I mean, Mormons, Utah is about a state, but it's really not about the location. You know, we know people on the East Coast, they're pretty familiar with it. But it's a lot of stories and a lot of stuff going on the East Coast. But again, it's just about you and your relationship. It doesn't matter where you are. You can still, you know, thrive at it. It's about the individuals that are involved in it. You know what I'm saying? The most successful polygynous marriages that we know, they just undercover, you know, they do their thing. It's just about them. You know what I'm saying? We had to make that decision on whether or not we want to come out and choose to help others who in the position that we were in. We had to weigh the pros and cons of it because it's pros and it's cons. But we felt that, you know what, it's more beneficial to help other people back, to give back, to share and to learn and be that resource that we wish we had.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter much, the location. You know what I'm saying? As long as you handle your business the way you're supposed to handle it, you should be fine wherever you are. But state-wise, of course, I mean, that's where they do all the shows at, or at least I think most of the shows is in Utah and maybe down in Arizona or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's been almost an hour, so I didn't know that. Time flies. And I already trained for like almost 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So
out of here.
Right, that's a wrap. Now, you could also download a new report that we created called 3 Ways to Win at Polygyny. So if you go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/3 ways, as in 3 ways to win at polygyny, not 3 ways.
Oh, snap.
You know, so people asking 3 ways. Yeah, 3 ways to win at polygyny. So go ahead and check that out. And we'll go from there. So if there's no more questions, we're about to wrap for the daytime for most of you.
Thank y'all for the
It's
love
all
and the
love.
comments
Yeah, indeed,
too.
indeed.
Appreciate that so much.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And like Dope Law, my guy said, good brother's been with us for a while, been following us. And I was also one of the students in the Polygamy Masterclass for men. If you want to show your support, it don't matter, $5, $10, $50, Kevin Samuels dollars. Our Cash App, business Cash App is OPR Coaches. And of course, PayPal me./OPR101. Or of course, outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/store, where we go a lot deeper. Meaning you're able to get downloadable worksheets, you get access to our personal emails, you get downloadable audios, and you get modules that really go step by step and much more in depth than just the simple Q&A that we did today, at least on your journey with going. If not, you know, keep us in your prayers, and you know, we appreciate you. We're going to continue to serve you. So we're going to rock out with GLC. We'll have any more questions. That'd be that.
All right, y'all. Make sure you're growing intentionally. Loving
fearlessly. Fearlessly?
Yes, sir.
Loving fearlessly. And connected on a higher level every single day. Now, just to let y'all know what happened there, she usually says that, then Coach Nyla said the other part, and I said the last part. Because my thing, when I'm by myself, I'm like, I'm Coach Nazir. I'm the coach to help people get their shift together. Boom. That's really easy to remember. But GLC, they do the G, the L, and I do the C. It's all love. We cover each other. All right, y'all. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Pleasure. Wait. Hold on. Let me see. This might just be a salam or something. Yep. I'll be becoming a student with my wife. Much respect. Let's open up personal life. Hey, AJ, appreciate you, man. Or lady. No lady named AJ. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.